You want the best medicine, the best drug, go to the gym. I'm always about bettering myself, no matter what.
Channeling that negative energy can make a difference in a day, can make a difference in your life, right?
You're just crazy. And I mean, to the point where you're self-inflicting pain on yourself. You're a masochist. I'm crying every day, breaking down emotionally. You think you look fat, but you're ripped or you're fit. I ended up going into a heart attack and I fell down and I started sweating profusely.
Jesus.
And I almost I just felt like I was almost blacking out.
Episode 107, Stay Classy podcast. Back at it. It's been almost a year since we've been back in studio. Jovan Corral, thanks for coming on the show. How you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing great, man. I'm actually excited to be here doing my first podcast.
Dude, really excited to have you. I can't believe it's your first podcast, but we'll make it a banger for you. So First question is, we were talking a little bit before we got on air about the bodybuilding leading up to competitions.
Yeah.
Jovan's a professional bodybuilder, for those of you who don't know him, in case you can't tell, but haven't done a show in over a year, right?
About a year. My last show was at the Universe in 2024.
Okay, so the question was that we're going to lead off with is, we all are, or I say those of us in gym culture know that leading up to a bodybuilding competition is extremely exhausting, extremely draining, physically, mentally. Can you tell us about one of the more screwed up or just crazy off kilter experiences that you had training for, prepping for, leading up to a competition? Just to start on a high note, let's go.
Yeah. So just to kind of give you a little background on that, the craziest bodybuilding show that I did was my first national show, which was the Junior USA in Charleston, South Carolina. I was so excited and pumped for that show that I abused taking PEDs and
performance enhancing.
Yep. Steroids.
Yep.
And so, I think I did a little too much than I should have. And I knew better, but because it was my first national show, I wanted to kick ass.
Yeah.
And so I realized that after going through the rigorous diet, the dehydration, the carb depletion, going into ketosis, and still training 1.5 hours to 2 hours a day, that's including my cardio, I ended up going into a heart attack. And I was coming back to my Airbnb with my ex at the time, and I fell down and I started sweating profusely.
Jesus.
And I almost I just felt like I was almost blacking out, and she was freaking out.
Yeah,
Anyway, so basically, I got through it, and she wanted to go to the hospital. I said, no, I'm good. Let me just get inside. Let me just
You didn't go
down.
to the hospital?
Nope.
What?
I didn't.
How and why? What is because you were still thinking about
the show?
The show, yeah.
That's all that mattered. When you're at that level and you're competing, nothing matters. It's about you. It's about the show. It's about impressing the judges, and it's about placing top 5.
And that was still in your head while you're having a heart attack.
That was still in my head.
Is that crazy looking back? You're no, I would do the same thing, or you're no, that was a bit. I took it a little too far.
I took it a little too far.
Yeah.
I look back at that and I go, stupid.
Yeah.
I won't ever do that again. But that's where I tell people, don't abuse the steroids. Do it right. Take the recommended the dose, or do half the dose.
Yeah.
And so when I compete in other shows, I do half the dose. I don't go full dose.
So when we're talking steroids, so first of all, I've known you for a little while, and you've always been very open about steroids, PED usage, leading up to competitions. It's just a part of bodybuilding. It's a part of the sport. But specifically when we're talking about PEDs, which PEDs were you cycling on and off of over the course of your bodybuilding career? Which one? Because there's kind of a range of common gear that people use for competitions. What were you using?
So in this case, I was doing, and we mix things up. We basically like to stack our
stacking.
Yeah,
yep.
Stacking is something that we do. And depending on what week you're out, whether it's 12 weeks out, 18 weeks out from the show, you take, I would be taking SUS 250, testosterone. Okay. Then I'd be doing trenbolone and enthate. Okay. The long-acting ester for one of the steroids. I'd be taking equipoise. I would be taking Winstrol. I would be doing Masteron. I would be doing...
Masteron, what's that? What's that?
Masteron is another type of testosterone that basically, what I love about Masteron, there's Masteron 200, which is slow acting. There's Masteron 100, which is fast acting, okay, acetate. And in this case, it actually suppresses your estrogen levels. So when you're stacking a bunch of gear, your test levels are going through the roof. Your estrogen is going through the roof. So in this case, a lot of men get gynecomastia.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
what we call bitch tits.
Yep.
So when you start feeling the sensitivity in your nipples, that's telling you something. That's a straight indication that, hey, your estrogen levels are through the roof. Progesterone's probably through the roof. So what do you do to mitigate that? You take Masteron. You could take Clomiphene. You can take God, I'm trying to think the other one. There's another anastrozole. That's the other type of anti-estrogen suppressant.
So for the uninitiated, how does a bodybuilder even go out, if you can talk about it, like procuring these substances? Aren't they controlled by the FDA? Like how do you procure like a controlled substance, as much as you can talk about? Like,
man, I mean, honestly, well, steroids are illegal, number one. They're not FDA approved. I mean, a lot of the stuff that you see in the supplement industry is not FDA approved, right? Peptides aren't even FDA approved yet.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. And, that's relatively new. I mean, peptides have been around, and again, I don't want to deviate from it.
Sure.
I've been around for a long time. When I studied biology, I studied kinesiology prior to that, and I learned a lot about peptides, polypeptides, dipeptides, tripeptides, peptide bond. But today it's more used to actually do a lot of healing, a lot of recovery, a lot of muscle building, a lot of fat loss. And again, we'll talk about that later if you want.
Yeah, sure.
But to go back on acquiring this stuff, you got to know people. You can get it online and you can get it from Germany and they ship it to your house. The problem is sometimes it'll get confiscated through customs.
Yeah, I was going to say.
So that's the coin toss.
Are we talking dark web or like just legal avenues?
There's a lot of websites out there that you could buy from. You just don't know if you're getting it from the direct source. You don't know if you're getting bunk stuff, right? Where it's just oil, it's olive oil.
Yeah.
And you're spending hundreds of dollars. So you don't know. That's why I use a trusted source that I've known since I was in my teens.
Now, I'm not going to talk PEDs the whole time, but one question I do is like the misconceptions about PEDs are just rampant in the gym culture, in my opinion. So like for a lot of people who think like, oh man, if I were just to take PEDs, I would probably get more buff over time. Like kind of dispel the misconceptions about just people think like, well, because he's on PEDs, he doesn't have to train as hard. Just like break that misconception in half for us.
Huge. Yeah. So a lot of people go, oh, they look at you, they look at me, they're like, oh, he's on steroids, Again, if you're taking PEDs, you have to put in the work. You have to go to the gym. I train 7 days a week. I don't stop. And again, I train hard the first 4 days. The next 3 days, it's just more hypertrophy.
Yeah.
Really low weight, lightweight, more repetition. But for me, it's neurological. I have ADHD. I'm OCD. So how do I have an outlet? I go to the gym. It helps me calm myself. It's more of a spiritual soul search, right? When you're working out.
Yeah, it's a good space to be in.
It's a great space to be in. Yeah. Mentally, that's what I tell. That's my drug. People are taking Zoloft, Prozac, you name it, Adderall, Ritalin. I go, dude, just go to the gym. That's your drug. Go in there for 1 hour. But again, the misconception is when people see you, they automatically think you're on gear. And it's like, no, if you're natural, which I know you are, you train every day. I see you kicking ass at the gym every single day.
Sure. Yep.
I kick ass at the gym every single day. Yep. I can do it naturally. When I get on gear, I look a lot harder, drier. I have more strength. I have more endurance. I have more stamina. So, and again, taking steroids isn't just going to make you look a certain way. You have to implement the training every single day. Yeah.
So on the subject then of, branching off a bit into just competition still. So bodybuilding competitions. Yeah. Now, again, for those you don't know, Jovan's a very highly ranked bodybuilder, placed top 10 in Miss Olympia or Miss Universe.
The universe. So at the universe, I placed top 10, top 15.
Yeah. So the credentials are there. So this guy knows what he's talking about. But in terms of like the prep before competition, it's not just PEDs. It's also the training. But let's talk a little bit about diet for a second. So I saw again this video of you. I think it was like 2 years ago, where it's like a week before the competition, and you were dehydrated. You talked about how you were suffering from the effects of carb depletion. So for those of us who don't know, like carb depletion, dehydration, why is that a part of the buildup to a competition? And just like how taxing mentally, physically is that on a human being? Like that process.
I'm glad you saw my video.
Yeah.
A lot of people, I'm assuming they saw my video. I can tell you that state that you saw me was a very emaciated, dehydrated, carb depleted, meaning it depends. Everyone's different. As a past coach where I would train athletes, biologically, if we were to go into a show next week and we're going into peak week, it just depends, right? we either do 3-day carb depletion, it could be 4-day or 5-day carb depletion where you hit ketosis.
What is ketosis?
Ketosis is basically where you deprive your body of all glucose, glycogen.
Yep.
So you look flat as a pancake, and your body's really just running off ketones and adrenaline, and you can't think, you're forgetful, you can't even articulate. I remember even being a fitness manager at EOS Fitness, and I'm sitting on my desk and I'm sitting there and I'm falling asleep in front of people as I'm pre-zoing. And I apologize ahead of time, like, hey, I might fall asleep on you for a second. That's how bad it really gets behind the scenes. But to talk about that video that you watched, it's one of those things where when you're going through all of those stages, neurologically and physically, it's to look a certain way.
Yeah.
When you carb deplete for 5 days and you dehydrate for 2 days. Now, again, a lot of coaches, they do things backwards, which means they have a guy go from 1 gallon of water Monday, half gallon on Tuesday, quarter, or a liter on Wednesday and a quarter on Thursday, no water Friday. Your body's so brilliant. This is the beauty about the human anatomy, is that when you start cutting water like that, your body's like, whoa, wait a minute. You're cutting water. I'm going to hoard it. So now you can't even pull water. Now your body's like, nope, no way. Now you're going to look bloated. So the best thing to do, what I do, is I do 2 gallons Saturday, 2 gallons Sunday, 2 gallons Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then no water Thursday, no water Friday. I completely cut it. Now I'm a self-diuretic. My body's like, man, you've been drinking 2 gallons of water every single day. Pee. And that's where my body's like, holy cow. And on top of that, because I'm in ketosis, my body can't even hold any water. Remember, for every 1 gram of carb, it retains about 3 to 4 grams of water. So when you're in ketosis, your body can't even hold water. So you're peeing constantly. I mean, imagine waking up 10 times in the middle of the night.
It gets like ridiculous.
Right.
Can't even sleep properly, yeah.
Right. And so for me to do all that, and then by Friday, I start carbing up, I'm like in heaven. I'm eating every carb possible. I'm doing sweets, you name it, fast-acting carbs, right? Granola bars, grains.
So now you're carb loading.
Now I'm carb loading.
Okay.
But that's the beauty about going into ketosis, is you go into supercompensation mode. The food the carbs, the sugars that you would normally never even touch or eat, you can inhale 10 servings, 20 servings of that in one serving, because you're in supercompensation, which now you're because of the glucose, the glycogen in your body, it fills the muscle up and it looks like a balloon. So imagine just blowing up a balloon. Yeah. It expands and it's tight.
So I think like to kind of take a step back here, like people think when they see a bodybuilder, obviously the training, which is correct, right? Like training like sometimes multiple times a day, cardio, weightlifting, like you never have before, the PEDs. But people, I think, just don't understand the level of minute self-regulation when it comes to diet for the weeks and months leading up and those last few days. What you talked about, like talk about the toll that takes, like, I mean, just like mentally, I mean, at some point, there had to be a point, especially early on, I'm sure, when you weren't used to this, where you question, like, what, like, why the fuck am I doing this? Like, what, like, what the hell am I doing, like, to my body? Like, and when you hit those kind of walls, like, mentally, not just the physical stuff, but mentally, like, what kind of kept you going?
Man, the one thing that I tell people, if you're a health and fitness guru and you compete and you want to compete, you got to be extremely psycho in the head. You're just crazy. And I mean, to the point where you're self-inflicting pain on yourself. You're a masochist. You're essentially a masochist.
More or less.
I enjoy it. I love pain. I enjoy pushing my body to the next level because I know that's going to make me a better person when I come out of it. I'm always about bettering myself, no matter what, whether I can better myself, better you, help others. I'm all about when as a leader, as a past leader, I always trained my peers, my friends, my coworkers, you name it, to be better than me. Because I know that if I decide I want to take a vacation, I know that you're going to do it better because I'm away and you're in charge. But that's because I trained you. I made you better than me. So that's how I like to think of myself, especially when I'm competing. And again, to answer your question, it's just really pushing the human boundaries to where most people won't do. That's why they say 1% of the population competes. That makes any sense.
Yeah. So, I mean, was there a specific moment you can think of other than like, the cardiac arrest, heart attack story, but was there a specific moment where mentally, I mean, just if you want to share, you sort of maybe broke down, had a moment that either someone had to kind of get you off the mat or maybe you got yourself off the mat? Does something like that kind of ring a bell?
I can tell you competing, I've broken down every day. I would literally set the bathtub up and I'd be crying because I don't think I'm good enough. I look in the mirror and I'm just like, I'm not ripped up. It's crazy to think that because it's the Adonis complex, right?
Yep.
When you see yourself in the mirror, you look fat. You think you look fat, but you're ripped or you're fit. That's something that I learned in school as well. And again, I can just tell you, that was something that happens when I compete. People don't see it. I'm crying every day, breaking down emotionally.
But no one can see that.
No one can see that. They think, oh my God, this guy's strong. He must do everything and everything's easy for him. It's not.
Yeah.
I hide it very well.
Well, I think that's one of the hardest and maybe one of the most important traits as a leader sometimes is showing strength when you don't feel like it. I mean, you ran your own gym. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Like One Republic Fitness in San Jose, because you're originally from the Bay.
Yeah.
Shout out to all our Bay Area listeners.
Silicon Valley.
But also, managing EOS, you're in a position of leadership. You've been in positions of leadership for quite a while now. Is that something that you felt like you had to sort of develop, maybe even that you developed in bodybuilding, was showing strength, exuding confidence, even when you're not feeling it? Because, feelings kind of come and go, but that discipline of staying constant, of staying consistent for people.
I like where you went with that. Yes. And competing, it's like the military. When you go in, you go through boot camp for 9 weeks, 12 weeks, they break you down and they rebuild you to something new. And you could take that and augment that to someone else and show them that they can always be strong, but also know that you have your weak moments and that's okay. That's when you're crying, that's just an outlet. Yeah. And it's okay to cry, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I was also going to ask you when you were in charge of your own gym, so just kind of segueing into that, how did you set the tone? I mean, you had people that looked up to you, people that were that you were responsible for. How did you set the tone? And even now that you're not running One Republic anymore, like what were the kind of the big takeaways leadership wise from being in charge of a fitness industry yourself?
So I was 27 years old when I first started One Republic Fitness. And that was in 2010, but I first did my first bodybuilding show, which was the Mr. San Jose in 2010. And I did that with my best friend, Jose Bermudez, who I've known since I was 20 years old. Me and him did our first show together. And, that set the tone for me because when I opened up my gym, I wanted that same principle to be applied to everybody else. When you came up to my gym and you said, hey, Jovan, I need help, X, Y, and Z. I got you. I've competed. If you ever want to compete, I can get you there. Yeah. But here's the foundationals that we need to go through. Here's the diet plan that we need to go through. But again, being a founder, CEO of my own gym, I truly enjoyed helping people. It came with a lot of headache, overhead, mainly overhead, right? Being a gym owner. And that's something that a lot of people don't understand. When you're a business owner, people think, oh, you're loaded, you're making a ton of money. Most of your money is going to all the
back
overhead.
Into the business,
right? Having 7 employees, have 7 trainers, having the overhead, investing into the gym, growing the business, and then reinvesting that money back into the business, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, absolutely. So once you sort of stopped doing that, so once you were no longer a gym owner, what was what did you do you feel like that prepared you for what you did afterwards in terms of a manager at EOS and that sort of thing? Like what did you kind of take away into your next professional role?
So it taught me a lot of accountability and ownership having a gym. Yeah. Okay, it made me a person of value where it wasn't just again because there's a lot of gyms everywhere. People sign up for one thing, you. They like you, you connect. And that's the big factor. A lot of people don't understand that connecting with your customers, your clients, your members, that's gonna bring in not only the fruit to your labor, but it's also gonna build a relationship. It's gonna be family. And that's something that I'm all about is family. You are family. But going into my next role, sold the business during pandemic. And I moved here to San Diego in 2021. I got back into corporate sales, so I got back into tech. So I was at AT&T IHX department. And so I dealt with first responders. I dealt with 5G. I've dealt with fiber. And I was going out and meeting business customers and regular customers. And that's something I did for a little over a year. And then I ended up working for Game Day Men's Health, TRT clinics here in Southern California. Okay. So I managed 3 clinics. What I liked about working for Game Day Men's Health is it was the absolute of everything I believed in health and fitness. When men, as you know, once you hit 25, your testosterone starts to drop. That's where we go into andropause. Every man goes into andropause. Like women, they go to perimenopause or menopause. Same concept. When you're losing testosterone each year, as you're aging, you start getting brain fog. You start getting exhausted. Body fat starts to build up. Less muscle, right? I learned a lot because for me to consult with patients, I was talking about ipamorelin, semaglutide, GLP-1, the gluconate-like peptide.
Yeah.
You know, testosterone, cypionate, which is legal when a doctor prescribes it to be on TRT, testosterone replacement therapy.
Yeah.
And then from, you know, Game Day Men's Health, I was laid off. And, you know, I got a call from the RVP at EOS Fitness.
Yep.
And he wanted to hire me. And so I got in as a fitness manager at EOS Fitness, and I learned a lot, but I was able to apply my leadership, owning a gym, my background in health and fitness, in healthcare, which was at Game Day Men's Health. I was able to apply all of that to not only new members, but members that I converted over to personal training.
Yeah, and that began a kind of a different arc for you career wise. But talk a little bit about in terms of you know, running EOS, like, and just, well, actually, different topic. You mentioned something that I don't want to skip over, which is the GLP-1s, that kind of whole, because I can tell you that pretty much every week now I get a client asking me, what do you think about GLP-1s? What do you think about weight loss pills? Is this like a healthy long-term solution for me? Is it good a short-term solution? Should I be taking these? And I have clients from the age of 25 to the age of 50 asking me these questions. So let's say someone approaches you in sort of a personal coach fitness role.
Yeah.
How do you answer those questions? How do you sort that dynamic when people are asking about weight loss pills?
Okay. So I'm not the expert. I want to make that very clear. I've been learning a lot. Thank you. I've been learning a lot about peptides.
Yep.
And how we're using them today. There is a lot of marketing out there, oral and injectable. And I tell a lot of people, I would stay away from the oral. The problem with the oral stuff is because of the pH2, or hydrochloric acid in our stomach. It's battery acid. You're not getting the absorption rate that you're supposed to orally versus injectable, which is subcutaneous, right? You want to do everything sub-Q. Intramuscular PEDs.
Gotcha.
Steroids, testosterone, right? When it comes to peptides, you always want to inject subcutaneous because the absorption rate is almost 100%. Does that make sense?
That's pretty high.
So, go ahead.
No, that was it. Yeah.
So when we talk about like retatrutide, which is like popular right now, it's 3 agonists: GIP, GLP, and glucagon. Those are the 3. Because a lot of people are talking about retatrutide, right?
Yeah.
Or Reta.
Yes.
And so, you know, I know people that are taking it. I've never done any of this stuff yet. And I will. I've been really trying to do more research to have a better understanding, like I do with steroids.
Yeah.
I can talk about steroids all day.
Research it before you take it. Makes sense.
Yep. Effects. So in this case, for customers or clients of yours that are asking about GLP-1, your body naturally produces GLP, ghrelin, which is an appetite. It encourages appetite, right? So by taking a GLP, it signals ghrelin to lower itself, right? So now you don't have much of an appetite. It's basically makes you feel more satiated. So the problem with the GLP, which I've noticed with a lot of people, is there are side effects. By the way, with peptides, there's a lot of side effects. Again, there's not enough testing, okay? And there's a lot of testing on animals, but not on humans. We have no idea what the short-term or the long-term.
Our metabolisms are different from animals, so it's not directly comparable.
Biologically different.
Yep.
So we don't really know the long-term, but I know that possibly Reta will be FDA approved. And again, the 3 agonists, it's something that I really like to tell people, really do your homework. Because if you're trying to build muscle, and I get it, if you don't have an appetite, how are you going to eat? Because a lot of my friends that have taken it, they can't eat much. They're forcing themselves and they feel like they have to throw up.
You're going to get your protein requirements, yeah.
And I have a lot of friends that ask me, what do you think about getting on GLP, like semaglutide, Retta, tesamorelin? Again, I don't know everything, but I can tell you that the people that I know that have taken it, they look skinny. They lost muscle.
Not in a great way.
Not in a great way.
Yeah, okay.
They lost muscle. And I go, you have to take, I always tell people, if you're going to be on that, at least take 1.5 grams of protein, multiply that by your body weight.
Yep.
Divide that number into 4 or 5 meals. That's how much protein you want to take on a per meal basis.
Yeah, to sustain any kind of like lean muscle mass. That's how much we got to get that 1.5 ratio.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I always tell people, if you're trying to build mass and decrease body fat, the problem with Retta, it doesn't attack. Here we go. I'm going to make this very clear and research it. It doesn't attack the subcutaneous fat. That's the fat that you and I are like looking at every day in the mirror.
That we're seeing.
We're seeing. It attacks the visceral fat. The visceral fat that's around the organs that causes cancer, that can cause a lot of issues with people. That's the beauty about Retta. But again, if you're trying to lose weight, because a lot of girls at EOS Fitness ask me, oh, I'm thinking about taking Retta. I'm like, you're fit. You're already lean. I'm like, you're going to look like a toothpick.
Yeah. So you would kind of caution against that for somebody who's already maybe in that decent lean shape that's maybe looking for that marginal improvement, because it's not going to reduce the fat that they see, the visual stuff. It's reducing the visceral fat, which is intestinal organ fat, which is very important, but it's not addressing what they're targeting by taking Retta.
And they're losing muscle because they're not eating enough now.
Yeah. So is that like, I mean, in terms of just kind of wrapping up the whole topic of PEDs and that and substances, that sort of thing, like, do you, like the evolution of it, do you see, I mean, there's more information than ever before, but do you see PED usage and also the substances that we're talking about, which are not like steroids, strictly speaking, do you see that moving in a more positive, like informed direction, or are you concerned about the amount of misinformation, I guess, that's out there now that's, people are taking things they don't need? Like, what's kind of your perspective as a society, American society, like not speaking for.
Great question. So I love the whole peptides. I love the fact that, like IGF-1, when you're taking growth hormone, because our IGF diminishes as we age, our organs start to slowly deteriorate. If you can actually intake more IGF, external source of IGF, peptide now, your organs are going to stay a lot more regular, a lot younger, right, over time. But you're just prolonging your health. You're prolonging the aging is what you're doing, right? So I see with all of that, the peptides, I see a lot of great things, a lot of benefits. Again, tendons, healing tendons, recovery, healing muscle tissue a lot quicker than normal, right? Because your receptors, it's telling that receptor to produce more to recover, if that makes sense. Yeah. Which I see a future in that, 100%. However, the other question, I do see a lot of wrong marketing. A lot of these influencers, online, marketing, all these products. And
probably because they're getting like brand deals.
They're getting brand deals. Right? And I get it. I mean, I've been there with my sponsors. I mean, I get it. Everybody, whether you're a professional athlete, whether you're a professional bodybuilder, or, you're a movie star, they pay you or they give you a bunch of product to say, hey, I take this and I look this way. Yeah. It's just marketing, right? Nothing against it. Like, I hope you guys all make $1 million. That's what I tell people. But the problem is when you're misinforming people, you're giving the wrong impression. And that's something that I'm like, if you're about your reputation, don't lose that reputation, because for me, transparency, honesty, integrity go a long way. If I don't know the answer to something, I'm going to say, hey, Steve, you know what? I don't know the answer to that. Give me a few days. I'll get back to you because I have a lot of resources.
Well, I think that's a great perspective take. I don't think a lot of people do that. I think a lot of people just want to have an answer, especially in the fitness industry. I mean, let's face it. I mean, like, at least my take, working in the fitness industry now for much less time than you, but is that sort of an oversaturated market right now. There's so much content out there. There's so many fitness influencers, fitness coaches, it's great, by the way, that there's so much information, that there's so many more people who are going to commercial gyms than, let's say 20 or 30 years ago, of course. But my thing is, with all the oversaturation of information, it gets hard to delineate, what's real, what isn't. People are confused. So I think that's kind of a rare perspective to take of, actually, I don't have all the answers. Like, let me go research that. I think sometimes we just want answers right away because of the way things are. What's your perspective of fitness influencer, fitness coach, like that kind of oversaturation idea? Maybe a couple takeaways for people about how to delineate, what's accurate, what's true from what's not, like with everything out there. I mean,
that's a really good question.
Broad brush, but take it any direction you want.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I mean, being a fitness influencer or any type of influencer, more power to you. I love that. But just remember that when you're recording and you're posting on social media or on the web, it's on the web forever. So if you're saying something that is wrong, someone's going to call you out on it. At some point.
Yeah. Maybe not right away, but it's going to come back.
It's going to come back and haunt you. And that's going to lose your credibility. And, what I always tell people, I go, if you were wrong, go back and record yourself and say, hey, I apologize to my fellow audience, my followers, as an influencer. I just want to take full accountability, but I was wrong on X, Y, and Z, and here's the correct information. And I put the link below so you can see and read that information that is factual.
How many people have that kind of humility, though? I mean, especially my hot take, I don't know if it's a hot take or not, is social media is becoming more and more ego-driven, not less. How many people have the humility to actually take a second, acknowledge that they made a mistake, acknowledge that their hot take on something, fitness or political, whatever it is out there, and actually go back and correct it, right? That's pretty rare. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but,
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm all about humility. That's what made me who I am today. To realize the wrong things that you have done and be able to acknowledge that I made a mistake. You take accountability, you take ownership, and you apologize. And I think people will respect the hell out of that.
I do too. I think people nowadays are craving authenticity. I don't know if we're quite seeing the transition of that in terms of the content on our feeds or whatever, but I think people are craving authenticity now more than ever. Fitness content, any content. Now, one thing too I want to touch on is your time managing EOS.
Yeah,
you were there for about a year and a half.
Year in I think 4 months.
And so in the course of that, owning your own gym, I'm sure you've kind of observed a lot of gym trends, whether it's, the rise in recording and influencers, which we kind of touched on, or just more and more people at gyms. EOS is becoming a huge, national gym brand. I mean, displacing Gold's gyms in Southern California recently, taking over a lot of those locations that were Gold's gyms are now EOS's. Talk a little bit about just kind of the changing landscape of the gym. We can talk on a big scale, just like kind of a local scale with EOS. What are some of the things that you observed that as somebody who went to the gym, who competed and who trained in the gym, but then at the managerial level that you observed, like, oh, wow, like you really saw it differently from a different light as a gym manager?
Man, that's a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm trying.
Again, take it any direction you want, Yeah.
Yeah. I got to say, out of like all the gyms, the 24 hours, the Gold's gyms, the old school bodybuilding gyms, I've found I'm very fond of EOS, and because of EOS, of their culture. I love my leaders that I worked under. They were amazing. And were they hard? Absolutely. I mean, working at a gym, period. I don't care what gym you work at. It's a grind. You're working 10, 12-hour days, maybe 6, 7 days a week, because you're trying to hit your numbers. You have your KPI. You're trying to hit goal every single month.
Yep.
And a lot of people call out sick and you're like, oh my God, I got to be there, right? That's the problem. The negative about working for a gym, period, is more time is invested. Yeah, you're making a great salary, but it's not it. When you really average your hours to salary, you rather work at McDonald's. That's your hourly pay. That's what it averages out to. But I always say the EOS endurance. What I've learned is having the EOS endurance. If you can stick it out at EOS, learn, grow, and be that leader, you can move up in the company. You got to put in your time. But I promise you that if you like that type of culture, you're going to do really great at EOS. And I love the people at EOS. I love the fact that they've bought out a bunch of gyms. They're opening up a lot of locations. I hope that they put in some locations in Northern California, in San Jose.
I was wondering why that hasn't happened.
I've been telling them. I've told my past leaders, I said, you guys really need to start putting some EOSs in San Jose.
Seems like there would be a demand for it.
Absolutely. I mean, what we have out there is American Barbell, Gold's Gym, 24-hour, Planet Fitness, Crunch Fitness. You have all these other gyms, but we don't have an EOS out
Do you think it has to do something with like different landscape of commercial real estate up there, or no? Just hasn't happened. Haven't gotten around to it.
And again, that's a great question. I don't have an answer to that, but I've mentioned it to my leaders. I've heard, demographics. Would it be a need having an EOS there? How would it do? They don't know, but that's just what I got. But
sure.
I mean, again, going back to being a leader at EOS, they have a structure that is high pressure sales that basically forces you neurologically to grow to the next level. If you can work at EOS for a year or more and move up, and I tell people this, if you're an FC, you better be an AGM like within 6 months or less.
We're talking managerial positions.
Positions.
Okay.
If you're a AFM, if you're an AFM, you want to be an FM within 6 months
Fitness
or
manager.
less as a fitness manager, right? And so I tell a lot of people, you really want to come in there and grow and push and learn and lead. Yeah, you're going to stumble on yourself a lot. You're going to wake up some days you're like, you don't want to go in, but you're going in. Why? Because you're passionate about fitness. You have to do what you love. And
It has to start there. Yeah.
Yeah. And I preach that to everyone. And so again, love the culture with EOS. I love the direction it's going. It's growing. The colors are cool, which I like. I like the new, I don't know if you've been to the new, oh my God, I'm trying to think what's like an hour away from here. There's
the Oceanside location?
Past that.
Temecula?
Not Temecula.
No.
It was like a booty.
The Bodybuilder.
The Bodybuilder.
Section,
yeah. With the peach.
Yeah.
I thought that was so cool. I'm like, girls are going to that's a great marketing.
That's a feature. So I was actually in Dallas in November, and I saw all the Dallas EOSs there because I was hitting the gym while I was there for a week.
Yeah.
They all had that section of the gym, like the Bodybuilder area or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was also like kind of a recording content area because one of the controversies now, of course, in the gym is do we let people record or not? And so they have like a whole separate area for recording.
Yeah.
Also, another cool feature that I hope is coming to San Diego EOS is machines that have tablets on them, show people how to use them, adjust to people's weight and height, that sort of thing.
Okay.
So I think there's some cool renovations coming to EOS San Diego as well. But I wanted to ask you, we've talked some of the negative stuff about gym culture competing. I want to also touch on some of the positive stuff. Like for you working as whether as a fitness coach, fitness manager at EOS, tell us kind of a positive story. Maybe somebody that you worked with, somebody you coached, or somebody who like worked under you that you saw really grow. I don't if you want to name them or not, that's on you. But like maybe kind of tell that sort of positive mentorship story because I know you have some of those.
Yeah, I do. I love coaching and mentoring people to be better than me.
Yeah.
That is my mission. It always will be. And I can tell you one person that completely stood out was Errol Austin. And Errol was a friend of mine that I met at 24 hours. Yeah, that I met at 24 hours. It's funny because I was going through AFMs like hotcakes. Like they weren't cutting.
Panning out. Yeah.
Nope. I'm the one doing all the work. And I came to a club that was there was no leadership. I was making all the sales. I was making all the connections, the interactions. When I saw Errol, I was listening to his pitches while I was doing my fasted cardio, working out. I turn off my earbuds and I'm listening to him and I'm like, he's the guy that I want to hire. And then I asked him, I said, hey, I see that you're in sales. Because when he started at 24 Hour Fitness, he was just cleaning. He was one of the cleaners. I couldn't believe it.
That's quite a meteoric rise. Let's just acknowledge that. He went from that to being manager. Now he's manager at Beverly Hills, I believe. But like, talk about that kind of meteoric rise of success. Yeah,
I mean, the guy is humble. He's wanting to grow and learn. He just needed the opportunity. He needed someone to trust. And I thought, and I knew I can give him that. I'm like, because I knew that I was going to be leaving EOS at some point because I wanted to go back into technology sales. I wanted to be a technologist, and that's what I am now. But talking to him, bringing him over, showcasing all the benefits and where he'll be. And I said, hey, when I hire you, you're not going to be an AFM. You're an FM. I'm going to teach you payroll. I'm going to teach you everything. I'm going to teach you leadership. I'm going to teach you how to sell better than you're going to ever sell in your life. He loved it. He had a breaking point where he wasn't going to do it. He came in and saw me personally, me and Mike, the general manager that's there.
Yep.
And we just sat in the office. We talked and
it clicked.
Yeah. He says, okay, I'm all. And again, I told him, because he told me, he's like, dude, I grew up without a dad. I go, same here. I didn't have a dad.
Yeah.
My dad was a POS. He was abusive toward my mother. And that's something that I don't have in my life. I've never had was a father figure. I had a mother figure. My mom was like my mom and father. And I learned a lot from her. And it's one of those things where I wanted to instill that into him, and I did.
Yeah.
And I trained him for about almost, I think, a month and a half, 2 months. And I dialed him in, and I said, you're going to be better than me. You're going to do great here. You're going to move up fast. And I know that. And he, obviously, as you know, you doubt yourself. You're like,
yeah, there's always doubt.
But today, he's #1 top nation sales guy.
Shout out to Arrow.
Shout out to Arrow, man. I mean, that guy, it's funny because when I hear him pitch, it's my pitch. I hear him, my pitch, everything.
He dialed it in.
But he dialed it in, but he just has his youth, his twist, he has his looks, he has that charisma, the smile. He brings light to people that don't even have that.
They don't quite see it in themselves. Yeah.
No. And so.
And that's leadership. I think
that's
instilling that in someone, like that self-belief.
Yeah. So, I mean, right now to this day, I'm proud of him. He's in Beverly Hills. He took the role as the FM to run the new club there that they bought, which was 24-hour. I know I haven't talked to him since he left, but from what I've been hearing, it's been a challenge. And I told him before he left, I said, hey, that's the challenge you're going to have like I did when I first came to EOS here.
And also the opportunity.
But there's the opportunity, but he's going to put in that work. So shout out to him.
Shout out to him. So rewinding it way back. So we kind of started your middle of your career, you're going to competitions, you had like, the heart attack, but you also experienced a lot of success in bodybuilding. Let's rewind all the way to the very beginning where I don't know if it was when you were a kid, teenager. When did the passion for fitness hit? How did it hit? What like took you from, I mean, a lot of us, we work out maybe in school or something because we have to, but then, most people I think don't work out that religiously after, especially college or whatever. So for you, was it like an immediate, like from the time you were a kid, like a boy, like I love this, like this is what I want to do? Or when did it hit for you? What was kind of the driving motivation and context behind your fitness passion?
I love that. There's going to be many answers to that.
Let's go for it.
So how can I start? Again, I'll start with my dad. He was a piece of shit. And he was abusive, alcoholic, smoker. I wanted nothing to be like that. I wanted to be the opposite. And I used to watch the middle of the night when you're up late as a kid.
Yeah.
I was a gamer. I used to see John Bastow. I don't know if you remember John Bastow, his infomercials. Guy had a ripped body. I'm like, man, I want to be like that. That started clicking in my mind. And Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yep.
He's like my role model. He is who I wanted to be like. Exactly. I'm like, I want to compete, own a gym one day. I ain't going to run for governor. That's for sure not going to happen. But I also want to, do movies, which I was in some B films. Mm-hmm. And so that motivated me. That made me want to be in the health and fitness. And my mom was already in fitness, like health and fitness. And she used to go rollerblading. She got me into rollerblading. She got me into a lot of things. Me and my sisters used to always go swimming at the YMCA, and I was always just about, athletics in general. And I guess the motivating factor is I was overweight. I was 285 pounds. I was a lineman from my high school. If you remember ephedra back then, Xenadrin or Ripped Fuel had ephedra. And I worked for Bally Total Fitness. That was my first gym job. I was 18 years old, and we sold all of that. Worldwide Products, which was Thermo S25 or Thermo Speed 50. And I was in sales. So I was membership sales, personal training, and I also was running the pro shop as a manager. And I learned about all the products. So it got me heavily invested into that. And I lost 100 pounds, 800 pounds in 3 months. I went from 285 to 170, skinny. And I was like, oh my God, I got too lean. And so I started training, weight training. Back then, you could buy on the store, even a sports nutrition like Max Muscle, that my buddy owned it. So he taught me a lot of supplementation. I was taking like 180. I was taking Mag 10, Androstat 150 from Mark McGuire. That's what he took. We were selling that Androstat 150 or Androstat 130, I think it was. But I was doing all these level 3 classified steroids that were legal. You could buy them anywhere in the States. Okay. It was legal at the time.
Yeah.
So that's what really motivated me to get big. So I got up to 265.
Okay, so you gained some muscle back. So
and a lot of fat.
Okay.
I had a high body fat percentage.
Okay. And
I was still learning my body, right? But I was training every single day. So just to kind of answer the questions that you had asked me, that's what drove me. That's what motivated me to be not like my dad, to be like Arnold, to motivate and instill that in myself. And I'm like, I will always be better every single day for myself and whoever I'm dating, whoever I'm with, my friends are my family. They mean everything to me.
Yeah.
And that's another reason why I'm moving back to the Bay. It's not just about my work, but
your community.
It's my community. Those are my family.
Yeah.
And I miss that. So, I mean, if that answers your question.
No, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot to unpack there. Number one is losing 100 pounds in 3 months. I mean, was that like just like daily, like training twice a day, like just absolute hell for 3 months? Like what kind of toll did that take on you? I mean, we talked about the bodybuilding, like the toll up to a competition, but 3 months losing 100 pounds, that's about 33 pounds a month. I mean, what happened? Like what happened to you also like psychologically at that time?
Man, I was so young. I mean, it's, you know, when you're 18, 19, it's
but not every 18 or 19-year-old can do that. I mean, what was it in you that like...
I just hated myself.
Yeah.
I hated the fact that I was overweight. I was husky as a kid and I was fat. And I wanted to change. I wanted to be better. And that's what really drove me. But also, and again, my upbringing is pretty strange. There's a lot of good and bad, but I was an angry kid. My grandma, she used to choke me, and throw pots and pans and shoes. And my sister would freak out. And, I mean, Mexican family, and so it triggered me. And so that's something that I don't ever want to be, but I took it out at the gym every day.
Channeled it. Yeah.
That's what I did. And that's why I tell people, you want the best medicine, the best drug, go to the gym.
Yeah. I mean, I can't think of how many times it's like channeling that negative energy can make a difference in a day. It can make a difference in your life, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe it's the difference between you making some irrational decision or who knows what happens, but you're able to like channel that correctly, like whether it's anger, malice, whatever. And I think too, like, you mentioned Arnold, and I've talked a lot on past podcast episodes, and Rob's probably sick of hearing about my Arnold Schwarzenegger stuff, but
you guys should start a new fan club.
Yeah, no, we really should. Come on the podcast, Arnold, if you're listening, which you're probably not, but I just think it's interesting because, Arnold, you talked about, your relationship with your own father, didn't have a great relationship with his own dad. I think there's something to be said for, sometimes we can start to pick our own family. And you talked about your community that you built in the Bay.
Yeah.
Was that sort of a chip on the shoulder, sort of kept you going kind of thing? Or did it more just kind of like shape who you were? Like what kind of like motivating factor do you think that played into, because it is a part of your story. And so as far as like the absence of that father figure role, like how did that shape you becoming who you are?
I'll say this. I felt that Arnold was my like father figure. I watched all his movies over and over, especially Terminator 2. Pumping Iron. Oh, I just saw that last night.
Yeah, that's great.
I watched it. It was great, and because of him, I wanted to be exactly like him. Yeah. I wanted to compete. I wanted to bodybuild. I wanted to own a gym someday. I had all these aspirations, and I want to say that he was the main trigger for me in a very positive light.
Yeah. Something I think we don't talk about enough in the fitness industry, and also to be honest, like as men, is that sometimes it's also a very lonely journey at certain points in the road. I mean, think about Arnold. I mean, he came to this country, didn't have anyone, left his family behind because he didn't have a great relationship with his parents was part of the reason. He also just wanted to pursue bodybuilding, acting, et cetera. But obviously that was a lonely period. He talks in a couple of the documentaries about, working out all day, working a full-time job, taking classes at night, both for English and other classes. So this is somebody who was completely dialed in, but there's points in that journey. And for you, I'm sure where it was lonely, where you hadn't built up the community that let's say you have now.
Yeah.
Maybe there wasn't always family support. I'm going to be honest, I think that sometimes, especially as men, we go through those periods where it's kind of you, like mano, sort of lone wolf. And not saying that's how it should always be, because you want to build those people around you who are feeding into you that you're feeding into.
Yeah.
But I don't think we talk about enough, to be honest, like whether it's like a fitness career or just kind of an A player, like there was kind of a lonely side to that journey. Did you experience that at certain points?
Oh, man.
Sort of just training in silence sort of thing, like...
Yeah, there was a lot of moments. I'm really trying to think. That's a really great question. Again, you're asking some really good, deep questions, which I love. I'm trying to think of the answers for you. I can tell you the feelings that I had. Yes, a lot of the time I was very lonely. And that's, again, when you're training every day, if you're dating someone, who takes priority, your girlfriend or the gym? The gym. You want the gym to take priority. Your girlfriend's a priority. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that she's not a priority, but the gym is what makes you whole. It's what makes you you, to take that positive influence and the euphoric happiness that you'd get, and you would want to embed that with your person, right? I'm just trying to think of.
But there's like a cost to that too. And what I'm trying to get to is I don't think enough people talk about like success, like the cost to it, which is, and some people can say that, well, that's a bad thing, like that's, people talk about Kobe, about like the work ethic, and let's be real, there was a lot of people who didn't like him, and the fact is that, with Tom Brady, like, there's an edge to these people at that level. And I think it's worth acknowledging that at times it does harm relationships. And some people would say, well, that's like kind of the cost of greatness. But for you, I mean, you just talked about it, like in terms of if you're having a romantic relationship for yourself, like, and, maybe not always taking time for that. Like, were there points where you said, well, this is who I am, this is the decision that I've made? And how did you come to terms with that?
Yes, another good question. Yes, I had come to terms. I said, you know what, if she can't see that, she can't value that, she can't see that I'm working on myself and my fitness goals and want to do better for not just me, but for us, then you're not for me. If you can't support what I do, then you're not for me. And I know that's probably really extreme. Again, I'm not like that anymore, but early on, I was like that. I was going through exes left and right because they're like, I don't want to be with a guy like you. Cool, move on. And again, I'm not trying to be mean, but it's just, it's one of those things where the perfect person, and again, no one's perfect, but what I'm saying, the person that
for you,
she will see that, she will value that, she will say, that's my man. I don't care. Like he's ambitious, he's disciplined, he's driven, he's career oriented, he does what he needs to do, but he also takes care of me or us if you have a kid. And and I think that, and you would do the same for her if she was in the same boat.
It has to work both ways.
It has to work both ways. And I'm not saying it's one-way street. It is a two-way street. I don't care who you are. It is a two-way street. So again, for me, it's always going to be a two-way street. If you can meet me, great. If I can meet you, great. But if you can't, then you might need to find someone that.
Well, I like that you're transparent. You're not like trying to sugarcoat, like, I mean, about the fact that, for instance, that leading up to the competitions that it was lonely, or that you did have those, meltdown and the bathtub moments, that you're very open about that. And I don't think that should be interpreted as weakness personally. I think that, in fact, as men, as people in the fitness industry, we got to be more transparent that, yes, there is like another side to this. And can you embrace that as well? It's not just, being on stage for you. I'm sure that there were some great moments of euphoria being on stage, seeing all of your hard work put in, whether it was placing in top 10 or not, but there's a cost to that as well. I think that like has to be acknowledged. Now, fast forwarding to the present now. So we started the past all the way to the present. You're not currently competing, right? But
correct.
Let's talk a little bit about what you do now for work. Also, like the pre-workout brand. I want to give you an opportunity to promote that in the final few minutes. Just kind of what you're up to now and kind of what you've taken from that.
So just to talk about the pre-workout first. I like to say, Elias, thank you for the sponsor that you've given me and to promote his product. We met Spectrum when I left EOS. That's where we met, and because I got back into tech sales. And so at that time, and he started his own company, CEO of his own company of Rocks of Limitless pre-workout, and he wanted me to promote it. He paid for the studio for them to do all the lighting and the video photography and everything. And so that just gave me a chance to promote his product. And, he gave me a bunch of free product, which is great. Love his pre-workout. It's awesome. It's very stimulating, which I like. I definitely do feel it. But again, there's a lot of pre-workouts out there. Everyone's going to say something different, right? One may not work for you. Another one may, right? But but that was I enjoyed it. Again, his product is great. And then basically fast forwarding to what I'm doing currently today. So today I work for Equus Compute Solutions, and my role as an account manager is I do a lot of traveling. I go to a lot of events. I network, shaking hands, kissing babies, mingling with people, trying to identify their problems for a solution that we have to provide. We're a 36-year-old company that is a system integrator. We heavily do white glove We do full-on integration, whatever else that you need, whether it's servers, AI clusters, out-of-band management, gateways, routers, whether it's 4G, 5G, our partnerships with Zscaler for zero trust, cybersecurity, whether it's on a branch connector level to a 5G Z SIM card. And our other partnership is Eris, which is Eris Telecommunications. They're also a cybersecurity, and they are on their, it's called watchtowers, that's what they call their cybersecurity, but they have a 5G SIM card that they insert in most of these computers, whether it's a cell phone, whether it's a gateway, to provide cellular connectivity, whether it's redundancy backhaul. So like if your internet goes out, boom, it actually piggybacks off the 5G cellular gateway, giving you the cybersecurity that you need. So again, you're never out of internet, right? Yeah. So that's my job right now, that's what I'm currently doing. I love what I'm doing. Is it extremely challenging? Absolutely. Being in enterprise sales, there is a lot to it. And these sales cycles aren't instant like when you sell personal training to someone on a daily. We're talking quarters, we're talking year, we're talking 2 years.
I'm sure that sales experience built though into what you do now. I mean, smaller level to larger level, but I'm sure that you carry a lot of that sales expertise into tech sales, even if it's on a quarterly basis.
Correct. I've been in sales for over 29 years now. And I've been in different sectors, right? Healthcare, health and fitness, technology, different types of technology, whether it was AT&T, Spectrum, Equus Compute Solutions and that's the big time. That's the big players. That's when you're talking about hyperconverged, converged networking solutions, when you're talking, hey, Jovan, I'm going to need 10 computers for my business. Yeah. What kind of deal can you give me? And guess what? You get a 3-year warranty or a 5-year warranty with it. Most computer components are 1-year manufacturer, and things go out when you're using them commercially, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So that's what I do currently.
Yeah, well, it's interesting that you had so many different chapters, right? I mean, we had EOS chapter that I met you in that time period. You had some pretty significant chapters before I met you competing, and then now you're in this new chapter with enterprise sales. Now, I do want to end on sort of a lighter note though, which is, having been in gyms now for decades at this point, what is your biggest currently applicable gym pet peeve? What pisses you off the most when something does, like just to end it there, like what is your biggest gym pet peeve? Go for it.
Wow. There's few.
It can be as simple as not re-racking the weights, or it could be a little more nuanced than that.
There's a few, but the number one is when I'm in front of the mirror and someone gets right in front of me.
You mean when you're like posing?
When I'm posing and they're working out right in front of me.
Wow.
I'm like,
can't do it.
I'm like, gym etiquette. Never get in front of people. Even you're supposed to actually take the weight and come back, not stand in front of the mirror. In front of, if there's someone behind you in a chair that's doing curls or shoulder press. Second pet peeve, not re-racking the weights.
As old as time itself.
I hate. I'm like, the weights are on the floor. I see some guy I was doing legs yesterday at the gym. And he's, he has dumbbells and he's doing side raises, and he just leaves them there and he takes off. And I'm like,
bruh,
God.
You like caught him in the act.
Yeah, I did. So I would say those are my two main pet peeves. I mean, everything else, it's just relative.
Yeah, I feel like for me, it's just like spatial stuff, like spatial awareness. Like if somebody's working out, respect their space, or just unnecessarily interrupting someone's set. I mean, the thing is though, I always caveat this in my opinion with, I'm so glad that there's so many more people going to the gym nowadays. People taking their health seriously, their fitness seriously. So that's the big picture, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's fun to complain about the little stuff, but that's the big picture. But definitely, it's worth educating newer gym goers on some of these etiquette things and features. Yeah. All right. Anything you want to end with? Anything you didn't get a chance to? Anything on your mind?
I'm trying to think. No, honestly, I just, I really appreciate the time that you've given me here at this podcast.
Definitely have a part 2 at some point. There's a lot we didn't get to.
I'm open for a part 2 for sure. I'll drive out here and do it.
You're moving to the Bay. I don't think we've said that on the podcast.
So I'm moving to the Bay Area. So March 1st is going to be my move-in date. So toward the end of next month, I'm going to have a couple buddies come help me. But the reason I am moving back to the Bay Area is that's my hometown. Born and raised Willow Glen, Silicon Valley. I'm a nerd at heart. Like people might look at me as this big bodybuilder dude. There's probably some people, judgmental. People are like, oh, he's an idiot. He doesn't know anything. When you actually sit down with me, I can give you a lot, right?
You can talk.
Yeah.
In a good way.
In a good way.
Yeah.
And so, you know, for me, for my role, what I'm currently doing, if I really, because this is the career that I want to stick with, I have to go back to Silicon Valley. That's go to San Francisco during the weekday to go all these events and network. That's the money is in the Valley because of all the startups that are there. And again, as a 36-year-old system integrator, that's our bread and butter. Whatever you need, whether it's, you know, going high tech, you need equipment, we have that for you. We have every partnership with every company. And whether you want your name put on it, labeled, you need a certain type of software to the hardware, then that's where we do that. We have our engineering architects that will fully fulfill that for you.
Yeah.
But again, that's why I'm going back to the Bay.
Awesome, man. Well, you're welcome, more than welcome to come back here anytime for round 2, because
I would love that.
There's a lot we didn't get to within the hour. But hey, Jovan, thanks so much for coming on. This has been awesome. We haven't been in the studio, by the way, as I said, in almost a year since we actually recorded in this studio. This is episode, again, I could be wrong, I think it's 107, might be 108. We've been doing this since, well, over 3.5 years, coming up with 3.5 years. So it's an honor to kickstart things in 2026.
I'm glad that I was able to kickstart you guys this year.
Absolutely, dude. Love it.
Hey,
see you soon.
I appreciate
and take care in the Bay, brother.
I will. Thank you.
Take care.
All right.
This has been another recorded episode of Stay Classy Podcast with your host, Steve Wire. Thanks so much for tuning in. And as always, you can find all of our content at our website at stayclassypod.com. And thanks to our production sponsor and partner, MaxLux Media. You can find them at maxluxmedia.com. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Every subscription helps and goes a long way towards ensuring that we can continue to produce content for viewers like yourself. Thanks so much. Stay classy.